Hi, I'm Tracy from Hall of Fame Moms, and it's been a while since I've done a homeschool video, so I wanted to do one to share with you a timeline project that the boys and I are doing. And I wanted to encourage you that to use what you have. That's what I'm doing. And over the years, this is our 6th year homeschooling, and so I've collected a number of things that I use in our homeschooling. I do some curriculum, like Saxon math, but I use bits and pieces of a number of things in my homeschooling. So I like to not be boxed in with everything that we do. So let me show you some of those things here real quick. So first of all, the history timeline we're working on, this is the first time that we've attempted to do a timeline through world history all the way to the present. We're spending a lot of time right now just putting together our basic timeline using a couple main things, and we're using a simple notebook. I'll show you mine. So I got these notebooks for like 17 cents during the back to school sale from Walmart. I think it was Walmart. And years ago I had the opportunity to buy this CD. It's by a company that I don't think is in existence anymore. I think it was a family company. It's called Hold That Thought. It's world and U.S. timeline cutouts, and I'm so glad I got it. I think I paid about $20 for this, and we didn't use it. We hadn't really gotten into using it yet, but now we are. We're hitting timeline heavy this time, or this year, and anyway, so on here there's I think it's got a list of dates and events in a list format and also in picture format. So like there's the years that we can cut out, and pictures like that. So what we're doing is we're just drawing in our own timeline, and then I print off and make copies of the events that this company, Hold That Thought, had put into their timeline product. And then the boys and I are going to, we're already adding in other events into our timeline. Now, I'm not going to go by just one timeline, so I will show you how we're doing that. But first, let me show you some of the things that I use. So over the years, I've been able to get a really good deal on some products that, maybe they were on closeout, or I did a review on my blog. Since I'm a blogger, I've done a lot of reviews over the years. I also was the boys and I were part of our local Classical Conversations campus for two years, and I tutored during that time, so I had acquired some of the products that I used in my tutoring. So I have those. I also, bought some of the Story of the World things, other products that I've used. So the point of this video is to share whatever you have. If you've got a mix of things, I would encourage you to try to just use what you have and to find other free resources. Since this is our 6th year homeschooling, I have acquired some things. So the timeline, our timeline is basically a 17-cent notebook, a CD with clip art and timeline information that I bought years ago, and then also something else that I use in our history and for our timeline is this this book I bought. I think I paid about maybe $10 for this. I think they might have been doing away with this particular version, but it's by Knowledge Quest. I think I'm saying that right. The Blackline Maps of World History. So in this came with a CD, so I can print off maps. It's just full of black and white maps that I can print off and give to the boys to put in their notebooks. So I've got that. And I also had bought this. I think I paid $5 for this from, I think it's this, yeah, Knowledge Quest. And this has blank timeline. I think it's got the pages that with the actual line printed on it and the years marked, but I don't want to print all that stuff out. I just wanted to make it simple with a notebook. And the nice thing with this notebook is, of course, I mean, I can't add anything to it unless I were to glue it to the page, but this is just kind of our rough, this is our rough draft timeline. So we're going to do this for the rest of the school year. We're going to be working on this. We're already up to starting the 1600s AD, so we're almost done putting it together, and then we're going to go in and we'll fill it in and maybe add some art and some maps to the back. Okay, so Wonders of Old. I don't know if Knowledge Quest has this anymore, but I think that's where I printed off this timeline. Right here, pages and pages, years ago, and I put it in this binder to save until I was ready to use it. So, okay, so this is one of our timeline options. So when I want the boys to add in new facts into their timeline, I give them this as an option. I'll just leave this right here. We also have, let's see. We also have this, the Big Book of History, which is by Master Books. This is a 15-foot fold-out of history, so they get facts off of this. This is going to have a biblical history to it. Actually, most of the stuff that I have has biblical history in it. So, and I have a video, I think, of this on my blog that I can share. So I stretch this out, or as far as I want, and the boys can pick things to add. So I got this for doing a review years ago. I'll just set this aside. Okay, then something that I bought, The Story of the World. Years ago I bought, there's 3 volumes to this. Well, wait, I might be wrong. 3 or 4 volumes, I'm not sure. I have at least 2 of them. And we listen to this while we're working on the timeline, and I find it's really helpful because the boys being boys, they'll maybe pick at each other or be goofy and loud, and it just helps bring calm and control, and they're getting a lesson. We've enjoyed listening to this over the years. Not this school year, but the 2 years before that, I was a tutor for our local classical conversations group, so I have some parts and pieces of their curriculum too. So I also lay out the timeline cards for the boys to look through to add more to things. And plus, I have the timeline song that goes with these cards, and I played that during the time we worked on our timeline notebook. And that's good. So when we were in CC, they were learning this song, and so I like to play that. So they're getting that. They're getting the more senses you use, the better you retain information and you learn. And so they're hearing things, they're seeing things, they're working with their hands. I think that's a great way to learn about history. So here's some more of the timeline cards. And you don't have to buy the timeline cards unless you're tutoring, probably, but the Foundations Guide is something that you would need as a tutor. And in here is the history. So I even like to use this to supplement our learning, like to learn the facts. There's so much. This is the Foundations Guide in CC is all about memorization, and it's really good. So if you have a chance, if you're looking for something just to help the kids learn the basic facts, and that I really suggest going with something with CC, at least looking into it. You might be able to find some. I know I have a couple older. Stop that. A couple older used guides. So if you can find like a used Foundations Guide on eBay or something, You might be able to get one for like $15, and it's got just so much information in it. I recommend it. Okay, so I have a couple of these books. I think they're both by the same guy or publisher. And it's really pretty cool. I found these for about $1 at a library sale. Our libraries put out books for sale. I think people donate them and stuff. And this is called The Timetables of History, and it's really cool. So it has all these things going on since, you know, this author, I have no idea if it's biblical or not, but I mean, it's got history things in it. So they start with the history, you know, 5,000 to 4,000, right around 5,000 to 4,000 BC, which is in line pretty much with biblical history, and goes all the way to, let's see, I think this particular edition was done in 1978, it looks like. So, isn't that funny? So it's pretty cool. I mean, that's back when I was a kid. Alright, what else? Okay, so these are things that I've collected over the years that we are putting into our timelines. So this is my timeline. I haven't done anything fancy on the cover yet, but I have I printed off a map for the early civilization and put it at the beginning. And I estimate that we're going to have pages in the back that we can add some maps to. Something that I've been doing with my timeline, because I've been studying history big time, specifically church history. So like there's biblical church history, and then there's like secular church history. An example of that is I think a lot of the history that you get with the Roman Catholic Church is going to be secular, coming from a Rome perspective. It as if they are the beginning of Christianity, which they are not. So if you believe the Bible, go to the book of Acts. You know, after Jesus has risen from the dead, and he's ascended into heaven, and the apostles are taking the gospel, the disciples, they're taking the gospel into the world. By the way, Peter is not the Pope. The Bible does not teach that. Christianity is founded on Jesus, Jesus Christ, and His Word. Excuse me. And there's so much that's not true that the Catholic Church teaches. So if you're into that sort of stuff, I really encourage you to put it aside and pick up the Bible and just ask God to open your eyes and show you the truth. So all that to say that I'm also studying church history and marking that in my timeline. So for example, since I'm studying on Roman Catholicism and Eastern Orthodox right now in the Bible, the history of the Bible. So some of the information I've got from other sources. I've made a list of when pagan idolatry and doctrines were showing up in the Catholic Church. Christians were being persecuted. Rome, when Constantine took over, he legalized Christianity, made it easier for Christians to be in there, and there was a mix of pagan beliefs and Christianity getting mingled in there. This was in the 300s. So that's 300s AD. And let's see here. So some of the things that were happening according to this other source I have, and you can always check this out with other sources, from 300 to 375, the kind of pagan and idolatrous things coming into the Catholic Church were things like praying for the dead, adopting wax candle worship from pagans, abolishing the Sabbath of the Bible, adopting the Sunday service, which was, I guess, worship for the sun god Mithras, abolishing the Passover of the Bible, introducing Christmas, birthday of the sun god, beginning to teach, beginning to worship dead saints. Let's see. Then in the 400s, the Roman Catholic Church began to worship Mary from the goddess worship of pagans. And if you study that out, I know people, have told me, well, we don't worship Mary, but that's sure not what it looks like. If you just do some research into all this, it's not just, there's Mary. Mary is taught, Mary is looked at as a mediator between man and God. If you're Catholic and you're praying to Mary, asking her to talk to Jesus or something for you, you're using her as a mediator, and that's totally unbiblical. You just do some searching in there. You're going to see that there are pagan beliefs that go way back, that involve a mother and child type of worship, and it takes different forms in different cultures. Okay, so then this is one of my boys' timeline. He made us a cover, just glued some paper. He's even made his own tags, BC and AD, so he can go right to the BC. There he is, adding his own flair. He has added some color. His AD section. And he just goes to town working on his own book. He writes in his own labels, the years, and so. And then my other son, he's doing one also. So that's basically it. I just wanted to go ahead and do a video and encourage you to use what you have. Whatever you have, try to use it. I will include a link down below so you can find more free resources for your timeline. And I think next year we'll do a timeline again. And I think it's a great way to study history. And also you can incorporate geography, which is important. I would definitely suggest you do that. That's another good thing with the CC Foundations Guide. That includes geography. And let me grab it here. And in the back of the guide, you have different maps. Your kids can learn such a good foundation in history and geography. And they cover other aspects too. You don't even have to be part of a campus. You don't even have to do the whole curriculum. But if you wanted a really good guide to cover a lot of memory work around the world, I'd suggest CC. Okay, so that's it. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below, and I will try to answer those in another video. Alright, thanks for watching.